Hard choices. Yeah, I've made some seriously hard choices. Walking away from my career was a big one. You know, a dad is like American Dad. If you ever listen to Tom Selleck and the way that he regards how fathers, dads are treated. See, a father is something completely different. A father is the allows is a conduit for principle. And some could say, if you believe in the Father, then you believe in the God, in God, that there is a power, and that you have to come to this power. And that one fact is how this entire regime of westernized, polluted thinking, from the aesthetic sense, Lady Liberty, the Whore of Babylon, how compartmentalized antiquity, how the bourgeois that doesn't exist becomes the populist movement that controls us all. And the sacrifice, the contention is that there will be no father. Because if you understand what I'm talking about, that the Father represents God, and that God represents principle, and that only those who are of the principle mind will ever even gain an exposure to this, there is no information out there that couldn't be explained by a corrupted witch. That is, one who uses their own personal power, their own perceived personal power, through intelligence and craftiness to be so sly as to take a little off the top. That's how our political systems are fashioned. That's how the economic system is fashioned. And it had become the way of a certain people. The pollution. Because there was no return. There was a definite, once you get to this bisection, this bifurcation, this area, and you take a left-hand path turn, you are now going in the opposite direction. And for those to think that these revolutions come back to purification, they don't. The entire cycle has to begin again. So to not choose the Father is a direct and definite choice. To not choose principle, purity, and the principles that stem forth from that tree of life, one abhors and is going away from carnal, temporal, or worldly knowledge, but in that they gain the wisdom of all knowledge, of all intellect. They don't live inside the confines of an interdimensional pocket that we live in now. That place of rot, that place of carbon cells and isolated, compartmentalized prison of selfhood. And so principles are a choice. I have been rejected as the Father. The principles that I live by and under and for, that were not afforded to me, that were not taught to me, that were not given to me, I found and I chose, and I gave up my carnal existence, my temporal existence, the worldly path, the corporeal, in hopes, in effort, Pangloss as they were, that my two sons would seek and find purification and principles. And they did not. They chose the left-hand path. They chose the easy way. And even when it's blindingly in front of you, even when all you had to do is make the most minimalistic effort, and you would start to see how these principles come your way. And the way, they chose to not do that. They chose to go in the other direction. And that's why I won't be staying in limbo as I go back to the way that I always lived, that produced prosperity, that cannot be, it's not a part-time thing. It's who I am and what I am and what I do. It's not like you can get up in the morning, walk a couple miles, and that's good enough. It is the center, at least on this earth. It's a kata, it's a practice. It's not just a walk. It's continuous training. It's gradual intensity training, meaning that I always go back to the training full body all day, every day, thinking very deep thoughts and being one with, I'm not even going to use the term, the universal expression of pure principles as a godly constant, that does exist. So when somebody postulates whether or not God exists, you have to meet God. You have to intrinsically practice the principles. So is it something tangible? Is it something that you can just break out like a credit card? The pleasures of this world are not pleasures, they're traps. And what's true for one man is true for the next. And those who choose the carnal path have made a definite choice. And all of us have to understand and live with that choice that we make. That you are my two sons, those who were my sons, that I am not a dad. I'm not a dad. I'm not your good time dad. That's not ever what I was trying to be. That's not whatever I ever extended your way, no matter what people say. I wanted to raise you into men, and I wanted to give you the principle practice that wasn't afforded to me. You'll never find it unless you seek. And when you seek, you will be faced with more loss than you will gain. And there's nothing to gain here in this world. You chose the wrong way, my sons. You chose the wrong way.